So, I went to see my holistic healer yesterday, and we spent 2 hours together, and we chatted, and she did some body work on me, and she's just a lovely older woman who is inspired by the yogis and the gurus and the Catholic faith and just all these beautiful, beautiful, positive communities that reinforce the human connection to a greater spirituality, to a divine, to something bigger than ourselves. And she, towards the end, brought up a emotion regulation technique that I thought was interesting, that I just started trying, and that I just want to share with you guys. So how this works is, since a lot of our behaviors or a lot of our emotions are really stuck in our subconscious, right? So as children, we have these experiences. As young adults, we have experiences. And a lot of times if we don't process them, and we're interacting with the world so much, right? I mean, it's constant. We're constantly getting new information, and we're constantly being bombarded, especially in this Aquarian age, that we're constantly processing information. And if you add emotion on top of that, that even takes even more energy from the brain, and it's possible that some of that emotional processing could be put off to the side or not be done completely, especially if you're not aware of it, because it's important when processing emotions that you feel it, that you're aware of it, that you make the connection, that you let it go. So if you're somebody who may have had trauma, or if you recall certain painful experiences from your childhood, if you're remembering them, then they're coming up from your subconscious. So she said, a way of healing these memories and letting them go and allowing them to move through is first awareness. The second part of this emotion regulation technique is that we can only identify emotions or feelings outside of ourselves that already exist within us. So when we interact with somebody and perhaps we feel jealousy, right? Or that we're being shown jealousy is being exhibited towards us, the only way that we're able to recognize it is when it's already within us. And it's something learned that we feel, something that we've experienced that we can identify. It's almost as if the cell phone could not have existed, right, without there being a language to talk about the cell phone and its parts. The only way we can identify objects outside of ourselves is by labeling them. And by labeling them, we can identify them. But that label has to exist in our consciousness. The concept needs to exist in our consciousness. And there's a proof of God for that as well. But we're not getting into that. And I hesitate to use the word God because a lot of people have some preconceived notions about it. So it's a little complicated, and I guess I haven't really fleshed it through myself because I don't think I'm giving a good interpretation or confident interpretation of it. But again, I just picked it up yesterday, so I wanted to share. If it works for you, use it. If it doesn't, discard of it. As with anything in life. So this is how it works. So if you have a feeling, you even remember something from your childhood. I honestly, I can go into it later, but I had a lot of trauma growing up in my childhood. But so you remember, you identify, you become aware, and what you say is there's 4 things. You say, I love you. Don't even have to say it out loud. I love you. I'm sorry. I forgive you. And thank you. Love is number 1, always and all the time. 2, you say I'm sorry, because by recognizing that trait outside of yourself, that emotion outside of yourself, that within you, you take accountability for it. That it existed in your subconscious, and you're saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you've been with me, that I've allowed you to stay there, to influence certain things in my life. You just say I'm sorry. You take accountability for everything that's gone in your life, because what's in you is your outside world is a reflection of what's in you. Right? So you say I'm sorry. Say I forgive you, because we're human. Because we have brains that do this, because we get so much information and we can't be perfect in processing and not holding on to anything. So we say, I forgive you. And then we say thank you. Because gratitude is so important. So I'm going to be using this technique. Again, you don't need to say it out loud. You could just recognize it, and you don't be using it all day, but at certain times or once in a while. But I'm going to use it, and then I'll let you guys know if I feel any effects or whatever the case is. But with anything, I think you need a little bit of consistency and a little bit of time, and to not attribute little wins or little signs as cause and effect. So just a little treat that I got from my healer, and yeah.